if you don't have that proximity to people who have money, who've done it, who played the playbook, how are you going to learn it? Because sure, if you are a young person growing up low income and you want to make smart money decisions, work very hard in school, get good grades, do the American dream thing, and you get to Harvard, okay? You get to Harvard, the rich kids still don't want to be friends with you.
Why not?
Because you can't afford to split the table at the club on Friday night.
Wow.
You can't afford to pay for the dues for your finals club or whatever they call it. Like, you don't have that money to get you there. So I think the process of becoming wealthy and becoming rich and having money, it's available to anyone, but the trajectory and the timeline is very, very different. Proximity makes it easier.
Yes.
So if you grow up rich and your parents are, you know, very, very tough, and they're like, we're not leaving a penny to you guys. You still grew up around all of those rich people.
You still have access, contacts, information.
Exactly. Yeah. And you still got all those soft skills. Whereas someone whose parents are like, I will leave you every dollar I have, but they grow up lower middle class, they don't have that proximity that you had growing up. So on Wall Street, we call them execution or knife and fork guys. So execution guys are the technical ones. They're like the ones that are actually good at the job, right? And then you got knife and fork guys. And the reason they're called knife and fork is because they know, they have all of those elegances that if you don't grow up watching that day in, day out, you don't know. They know that the littlest utensil is here and the biggest one comes in closer to your plate. They know how to take the napkin and fold it politely over their seat or like over their lap. They know that the dessert spoon goes this way. And they have those soft skills that are kind of like the tell of how you can kind of spot another rich person. Like, I can smell the rich on someone.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of like fake rich also, isn't there?
Tons.
So can you smell
100%.
the rich and the fake rich?
Yes.
What's the difference between people who are actually rich and those who are acting like they're rich?
People who are actually rich, like you rich. And sorry, guys.
That's good. That's good.
They're not concerned about impressing you.
Interesting.
They are, I talk about this in my book, they are apex predators. They do not worry about what you think about them.
Wow.
It is the guy that you see walking into a 3 Michelin star restaurant in a quiet, normal looking outfit, sweater vest situation, eats his meal, leaves a 50% tip because they can. That's true wealth. Then you've got the wannabe wealth that goes to that same restaurant, dripped out in a designer label, is, you know, making a scene. Why isn't this water sparkling? This is still. I don't like that. No. Like, just, you know, really, really new to the experience, and then leaves at 10%. I would say that people who want to look rich brag about things. Look at my new bag, look at my new car. Really rich people, they don't brag, they talk about experiences that they have. So this is another experience, and like one that I frankly couldn't really relate to when I first started in my career because I didn't come from that kind of money. But when it was around vacation season and people were talking about going to Italy.
And the yachts and the...
Not even the yachts, but everybody had a restaurant in Capri that you had to try.
Wow.
Everyone had their favorite place for gelato, you know, in Venice, whatever it was. You could tell that person had lived life in a way that someone who doesn't have that kind of access, who doesn't have that kind of money, doesn't have, because they can't take the time off. They don't have the money to go to those places. And even if they did, they would be doing things on the path versus stuff off the beaten path that lets them live like a local. I would say something that people struggle with realizing is that these changes you'll have to make, they're not permanent. They're only temporary.
Yes.
And you are going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be fun. And I am very anti, cut out the avocado toast, don't buy the coffee, rah, okay? I am.
Yeah.
But if you are in truly a dark, dark hole and there's no ladder to crawl out.
Cut it out.
Like, you literally have to cut it out.
Yes.
You have to make some temporary changes that are very uncomfortable. And to your point, like, we focus so much on cutting out every single little discretionary cost. Do you know how hard it is to cut out $5,000 worth of expenses? Do you know how easy it is to ask for a $5,000 raise? A $5,000 raise happens every single day. Like, that is par for the course. That's not anything special. Cutting out $5,000, do you know how many coffees you have to cut out? You know how many meals you can't go out to? Do you know how many friends you might lose in that process? So again, I think it's really, really important to be asking for that raise. And I mean 10, 15% every single year. Are you going to get it every year? Probably not. But you get 7%, great. You get 8%, great. You got to ask.
Yeah.
And you got to remind them pretty much for 6 months out of the year that you deserve that raise and that you want money, that you are money motivated. Because if you ask in December when everybody else is asking for money,
Right.
you're at the back of the list,
Good
back of the
luck.
line.
Yeah.
You want to be on top of the pile when your boss starts thinking about who's getting a raise this year.